Hi, I'm Catherine Bruns, West Hartford's Recycling Coordinator, here to talk to you today about what to do with all the material you come upon when you're clearing out of a house. In today's talk, we will talk about the material that you're going to find, resources for where to take it, what the recycling triangles mean and how they're deceiving, so don't let those lead you into thinking you can recycle something. We're going to talk about wish cycling, and then I have a lot of resources for you where you can find out information when you want to take material somewhere. So here we go. So West Hartford has a theme of 6 R's, not 3, not the reduce, reuse, recycle that we always thought about. It's to rethink before you even bring something into your home, to refuse, to reduce what we use, to reuse, and that's where this is important today, to rot, that's composting, not so important for today, and to recycle. So one thing that we have is a resource in Connecticut. We have a Recycle CT app. Wherever you get your apps, you can download this, and then if you don't know about something, you can put in ceramic mug, and it will tell you whether it's allowed in your blue bin or not, or whether you need to toss it or where you can donate it. And we also have a West Hartford Recycles Waste Wizard app. So one of the things we want to do with most of the material is to reuse it. And we have a lot of options around here. You can take it to Goodwill, you can take it to the Restore, Habitat for Humanity, and in Connecticut we have something called IRISH, which is Integrated Refugee Integration Services, and that's in New Haven. And they're always looking out for sets of sheets, cutlery, pots and pans, I think that the mattresses, and beds. So what do those recycling triangles really mean? Those triangles were put in by the chemical industry to say what kind of resin is inside of a plastic. It doesn't mean that the item is recyclable. So just because there's a triangle, it doesn't mean it's allowed in the blue bin. So in general, 1s and 2s are the plastic water bottles and beverage bottles, and those are allowed. But 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, don't assume that that means it can go in. You'll often come across things like a drawer full of pens and pencils. I've cleaned out houses and I know this. And people will put plastic pens in the blue bin, and they're just not recyclable. Those go, if you can't donate them somewhere, those unfortunately go in the trash. So don't go by the numbers. Also, there's numbers on plastic bags. These are called plastic film. And we have a program for recycling plastic film. It just doesn't go in the blue bin. So go to plasticfilmrecycling.org and put in your zip code, and you can find where you can drop off plastic film. And trust me, when you are doing a house clear out, you will accumulate a lot of plastic film. Those are baggies, Ziploc bags, these Amazon blue and white labels, those are all plastic film. We have a very handy chart in Connecticut. It looks like this, and it breaks it down into plastic, metal, glass, and paper, and it very clearly delineates what's not allowed. And another thing you'll come across a lot when you're doing a house clear out are things like ceramic mugs, metal hangers, odds and ends of Pyrex glassware. None of that is allowed in your curbside recycling, but there's places that you can take it, and I'll talk about that in 1 second. And this guide comes in 2 forms. It's either in the picture form, or here you see a list form. If you're in West Hartford and have access to the Yard Waste and Recycling Center, you can bring a lot of material here. Here you can see you can bring mattresses, you can bring electronic waste, and electronic waste is anything with a plug and with no freon. You can also bring all excess blue bin material, so sometimes we have a lot of moving boxes, and you can bring paint and textiles. That's another thing, you can bring textiles. So here's the chart for the plastic film recycling. You can see the materials that you can drop off at the plastic film recycling. And books. This is another huge thing when people are clearing out houses, especially older homes that have encyclopedias, because nobody wants outdated reference material. So we have a book drop-off bin at the Yard Waste and Recycling Center, but you can also call this company, Discover Books, and they will come and pick up books if you have a lot of them at whatever home that you're doing the clear-outs. So let's just talk a little bit about wish cycling. So you can see here on this slide, There's 3 different examples of putting a material in the blue bin that you wish could be recycled, but in fact cannot be recycled and causes more headaches down the way because actual human beings are pulling this material out. You can see in the first example is styrofoam. Styrofoam is never allowed in curbside recycling. It's in general not allowed anywhere in the United States. There's just no market for styrofoam. You can see in the middle picture there is a pot that does not go in recycling. You can either find a place to donate it or you can take it to a metal drop-off location at the Yard Waste and Recycling Center. And the last one is tools. Tools like this shovel definitely do not belong in the blue bin. Other things that aren't allowed in the blue bin, when we're moving out of a house, we often have a lot of boxes in the attic that have several different materials in it. So yes, the box, when broken down, is allowed in the blue bin, but all this styrofoam insert, that unfortunately is trash. So be sure to separate it out, put the styrofoam in the trash, and the boxes or any plastic film, the plastic film can go to plastic film recycling and the boxes can go in recycling. But the styrofoam is trash. We often hear people who are complaining because their blue bin is so full, but often it's filled with things that aren't allowed. This is what happens when things like plastic film go to a recycling center. You can see this picture here. Plastic film and holiday lights become tanglers and they tangle up in the recycling machinery. This picture is pretty amazing. And their workers go in there every day for 2 to 3 hours and they cut the material out with box cutters. So this is why we want to keep plastic film out of curbside recycling. Here they are again. You can see them pulling out all sorts of material. It just doesn't magically get separated. So there's going to be a lot of carry-out containers. People tend to save them. So this was a social media campaign I did with some pictures. Know your carry-out, what's in and what's out. Here you have some examples of clamshells. For the most part, they are not allowed. Even compostable ones can be composted if they go to an anaerobic digester, but they can't be composted in your backyard, and they certainly don't belong in the blue bin. So the only thing in the picture on the left-hand side that can go in are pizza boxes. This surprises a lot of people, but pizza boxes, once you empty the food out, are allowed in curbside recycling. And on the right-hand side, the little tiny soy sauce or ketchup containers, those are too small. Anything smaller than 2 inches falls through recycling machinery and goes to trash anyway. So just put it in the trash in the first place. Here's another example. Black plastic is not allowed in curbside recycling. It's rarely allowed anywhere. There is no market for it, so nobody wants to pay the money to pick it up. And one final thing before I end is we often end up in the garage. And in the garage are a lot of material that's household hazardous waste. This is oils and antifreezes and leftover spray paints and things like that. So all household hazardous waste, please collect it in one spot and wait for the town's household hazardous waste event and take the material there. Please do not put this material in either the trash or the recycling barrel. You can find out more about household hazardous waste events if you go to themdc.com, and that will give you the dates. So thank you very much, and please feel free to reach out to me with any questions, or certainly download those apps to find out what material you can take where. Thank you very much.